Welcome back, everybody, to our Football Exponential podcast. I'm joined by my regular friend Frank. Is in the house.
Yeah, hi
Uh,
Chika. Thanks for having me again.
yeah. This is our first recording for the season. We didn't do one
Yeah,
last week. Yeah.
yeah.
Let's quickly go. Spurs.
Some
Yes, sir.
yeah,
Yeah.
no, I was saying some of our members were on holiday, so
Yeah. Well, maybe next week we'll welcome our Spanish correspondent.
yeah.
To tell us more about Barca and Real Madrid. Okay, let's quickly go. Manchester City lost to 2-0 to Tottenham Hotspur. And then I wanted to ask you, do you think is because if you watch their game against Wolves, even if they were not really in the game in the first like 30 minutes, but once they took over the game, it was game over for Wolves. Like they could have scored way more goals. They were smooth, quick against Wolves, but totally they couldn't match Spurs. So what do you think was the problem on that day with Pep
Yeah, okay.
Guardiola's Manchester City?
They were physically beaten. They were physically beaten on the day. They couldn't compete physically. I think it's always important to listen to Pep Guardiola or even coaches after games and about how that team performed because they always tell you how to get at them, how to outclass their teams because Pep has always been very notorious about talking about physical performance, being physical on the pitch,
Mhm.
and winning second balls. Second balls. I think that's probably the most important phrase in Pep's entire Man City tenure. And when you
Yeah,
come up against a well drilled team, a well drilled team like Tottenham on the day, and they just tactically outmaster you on the day. They had no response to them. And I think with I think what I've noticed with City in recent months is if City don't take score the first goal,
yeah.
they if they don't score the first goal, they concede first. Sometimes they rarely come back. They like it's really an issue for them. But I think Tottenham were fantastic. I think that midfield, the forward line, the presence from Tottenham on Saturday was amazing. The forward play from Richarlison was amazing. My player of the match was Papa Metasa.
Yeah,
He was truly
Papa
amazing.
Sarr.
He was truly amazing on the day. But again, I say it goes back to the issue City had last season, where that midfield they don't have the same control in midfield. They don't defend as well as they used to, and they give away silly goals. The second goal, it's a really poor goal to give
But
away.
why was the guy calling for the ball when he had knew? Why was Nico Gonzalez calling for the ball when he knew he had
Yeah,
like two players behind him? Or
yeah, yeah, look, but again, but the question then is like, is Nico Williams good enough to be playing in in playing? Because like you see, that is obviously a weakness Tottenham have identified in Man City's team or in that build up that if you really squeeze on them, squeeze on Nico Gonzalez, squeeze on Ruben Diaz, who I think is getting to the point where we need to have a conversation about Ruben Diaz and John
no,
Stones.
he's been a
But if you,
disaster for like 18 months now.
no, so if you squeeze on those two guys. And you don't have Ederson because you know Ederson. If Ederson's in there, that's Ederson's bread and butter. Ederson, even if he's not passing the shot, he can hit a long ball over the top to Erling Haaland easily. And again, I looked at it like this is where you need because sometimes you see it's how you identify a situation where you see sometimes where teams are trying to play out of the back, but they see in front of them there's already the press is already set, and you see
Yeah.
from the goalkeeper also like, okay, no guys, no, everybody go forward. I'm going long, and that's one of those.
Pickford does that a lot, and he
Yeah,
does it so well, so well. Pickford,
yeah, and
Everton's
and it's,
Pickford.
I think it's one of those occasions where that's where is it the not the inexperience, but the is this like this goalkeeper is still in the bedding process of what it takes to be a Man City goalkeeper, where he needs to understand those little details. Because again, cause if you see it, there was really nowhere to pass. Like the best
Yeah,
pass was
yeah,
to
yeah.
either delay or you just go long because I don't think because and it's tough, but to go to Man City again, I think defensively they've not improved from last season. I think defensively they had a lot of issues. Defensive, Kyle Walker struggled last year. They had issues at left back, but they still. If you just look at it this way, if you're going to the season with Nori and Rico Williams as your first two start as your starting pairing as fullbacks,
Nick,
that is
Nico Williams,
Rico.
Rico Lewis.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
think they
he's
got. I think they got worse defensively. I don't even think they are better. This is why I feel they. I think they got worse. Even if they didn't add
technically,
players, the players that are
technically,
there, I think they've checked out because I'm no longer seeing Akonji in their lineup. I don't know what is going on. I don't know if
they
he left
won't
for
sell him.
Galatasaray. Yeah, they want to sell
It's
him.
they want and even like just like touch on the like the business they've been making the last 18 months is very okay. If you sell Akanji, what do you have left? You just have three or four centre backs,
And
and
Natanake
that
is
is
always injured. But he didn't have this kind of injury in Bournemouth. But since he came to City, I think he's been as injured as John Stones. He's
yeah.
always been breaking down. I don't know. Mine observation is that if you watch the beginning of the game, the first before I think the first 10 minutes, there was a time he played it. The goalkeeper. What's the name again?
Trafford, James Trafford.
There's a time James Trafford kicked it long. He found Haaland.
Yeah,
He nodded it to Mamouche, and Mamouche nearly scored. If you watch the beginning
yeah,
of the
yeah,
of the
yeah, yeah. I
game,
remember. Yeah, yeah.
so that told me Haaland is tall. Haaland could always contest for all the area balls or whatever. Why don't you kick it small sometimes? Mamouche knows how to run. One thing I give to him is that I think watching him play, he knows how to beat the offside flag. He's 27, but I still think he can still do because one thing I can remember about Obama Young
He's
then is
he's 27.
sorry, I think 25. He's more than 23. I think he's 25. Help me check. He's
Oh,
25.
I'll check. Oh, yeah,
Help me
okay, yeah,
check.
keep talking.
He's
I'll
going
check
to
it.
be
I'll check it.
25, 25, maybe 26 next year, but he's 25. I can remember because when he was signed,
Yeah,
I checked his age. So he might improve. But pairing him with Haaland, I think is good pairing. But I don't know why they are reluctant to play it long. How old is it?
yeah. He's gonna be 27 next year
Oh,
February.
I was right, right? Yeah, I know. I
Yeah,
checked
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. Which
27.
okay, but speaking of Mbappe, do you think they have like I know it's still early and he's looked good even from even the back end of last season, but do you think they have a Mamouche problem? Like how do you? Because again, he played on the wing on Saturday, and I don't think he's fit in that position as a winger.
No,
Like you know how
the problem I feel they have a lot of problems. I'm sorry to say this, and it might get to this. I
they
think
have
they need to tear it. Let me give you the reason why I feel they have Mamouche is the least of their problem. In short, it's a blessing to them. If you look at the
yeah
Manchester City, they have Mahrez.
yeah
They had Leroy Sané, who was on the bench, who came from the bench to play.
They have Sterling as well.
They had Sterling, they had
Yeah,
Aguero, they had David Silva, they had Bernardo Silva. We just called six big players or six very good players in their pump. Now they have Oscar Bob. I'm not saying they are bad players, but they are not up to. They have Doku.
yeah, yeah.
They have Oscar Bob, they have
Savinho.
Doku, Savinho. So really, is so now if you were not able to have a physical presence, you might have played without a physical presence. Okay, score me two. Tottenham scored only 2 goals. If it was the old one, Mahrez, I'm sure could score 1 goal. Sterling could, so they could match you.
No, but even like you're talking about like scoring goals, but even in the second half, their first shot on target came in the 76th minute. Like
Yeah,
it
yeah,
show
yeah,
like
yeah.
even
And they said this is the first time. I think this is the there was a statistics about Liverpool. This is the second time in this is the first time they've gone a game, I think a game at home without scoring for the first time since I think February when they played Liverpool. Against Liverpool was the last time they couldn't score in any game. That means City always scores in every
yeah,
game.
yeah,
Yesterday was the first, but if you look at Thomas Frank, two clubs or two coaches he knows how to beat is Chelsea and Manchester City.
yeah,
He's the only
yeah.
coach that beats Pep Guardiola the season he went. That beat
Treble.
him at the Etihad Stadium the season he
Yeah,
went. They won the treble.
yeah.
So City were easily overrun in midfield. They don't have the bodies. They need the bodies. They need the physical presence. All they have is they have technicians, the likes of Baleba, Caicedo, Esugo, even Anderson, Elliot Anderson. They need those sort of players that can match match the energy or something like that. City, sorry, Tottenham had Palinia, Sarr, and then Bentacle. And if Bentacle was getting tired, they could throw in Bergwijn or they could throw in Archigray. These are players that they might not be as better as maybe Paulina, but they could give you that energy. City didn't have it on that day. Then I think Richarlison deserves a lot of credit.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah,
A
yeah,
lot
yeah, yeah.
of
I,
credit.
I think he
Like
started the season well. He
I
started
was
the
so
season well. Yeah.
impressed. It's not even the goals, but the work
No.
rates. I'm so impressed. Like even if he doesn't score goal, just give me that energy. I watch him.
Yeah.
I watch him the two games. I'm like, man, Solanke will have a difficult time. He will have his. He will. But the two of them, they have so many games to play. I don't think it should be a problem between the two of them. In as much as they win title, they qualify for the Champions League. But he's a way Thomas Frank kind of signing with his energy, and that's why when I was hearing they were linking him with Crystal Palace, I
Crystal
was
Palace.
shocked. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
what are you doing? You want to buy somebody else to replace him? So, and then
Okay.
another very bad thing, City need to work on their shape when they lose the ball.
But it's
Transition
been,
is
but it's no, I don't know, but it sounds obvious, but it's been they've had this problem for like for 2 years now, where if because they play like obviously they play how they play and they squeeze so high up, they squeeze high up the pitch, but every time they lose the ball, and if teams, because most times a lot of teams are not brave enough to attack them when they lose the ball now, because most teams are very when they get the ball they just give it straight back. But when they come up against good teams like the Brentfords, the Tottenhams, even Chelsea on the good or even Arsenal, where you can transition quickly, you have attacking players that can destroy them. Like Liverpool are like Man City's kryptonite. And when you end up in those situations where you don't have the guys that have the legs, so that's the Stones, they're not physically at their best anymore. I think physically two of them are gone. And you pair them with guys like Ignori, who's at his best. He's a very good football player, but he's not a left back. Even at Wolves,
no, no.
it's like playing Marcos Alonso at left back. It's not going to work. He likes to go forward. He's very creative. He has a lot of flair. And you have Rico Lewis, who's not. He's like to say he's anything like Kyle Walker is just disrespectful to Kyle Walker.
No,
Like
no,
he's
no.
a
It's
like
disrespect.
he's a tidy player, but I don't think he's not a good player. He doesn't raise the level of that team defensively or even attacking wise. So when you lose the ball, and you see, and I think they've also lost that. I'll be careful, but I think they've lost that hunger to run back. They've lost that hunger to because again when you because that first goal, you see the minute the ball gets played long to Papa Metasa, he wins that header. He wins the first header. Then if you see Man City, see how they react to that first contact
Mhm.
and the ball that gets that falls to Richarlison, they're slow to react. They all freeze on the halfway line. They can't get back quick enough. And with Pep, again, I still feel I still have a lot of questions. Like in Man City, because they signed a lot of players since this year alone. And are they signing these players for Pep Guardiola to improve the team? Or are they already signing players just to sign players to get ready for when Pep leaves the club? Because Donnarumma is another goalkeeper. Like that, they've been linked to Donnarumma. And the mistakes Trafford made on the weekend, I also think he
You
should have
know,
been sent off. I think he should have been sent. Like he was lucky not to get that red card. But Donnarumma, he will make those same mistakes from
it
the
will
build
make
up
worse.
coming off his line. He will make those mistakes. So what we're thinking that like I get Edison is I don't. I guess Ederson has been he's been on and off for a while, but still, when it comes to how they play, Ederson is still the best
Yeah,
option. Like passing out
yeah.
on the back is still the best option. So when you then right back, the right back, you can't go into the season with Rico Lewis and that the
And
Portuguese midfielder Nunes, Matheus Nunes as your right backs. It
no.
doesn't.
I even forgot about him.
So it's
I just remember right now that Rico Lewis burst onto the scene. He's had like 5 years because the season Chancelo.
no five. No, is it five?
Yeah,
Is it
I'll
three?
remind you. I'll remind you.
Five.
No. No, I'll remind you five. Remember Cancelo
Yeah.
left. No, not five. I think it's 3 years. It's three. It's three.
Yeah,
I think it's 3 years. I think it's 3 years. Yeah, it's not five. Five was the COVID period. It's like three because when Cancelo went to Bayern Munich on a loan was when Rico Luis they decided to use Rico Luis. I think that might have been some of the problems they had before Cancelo left. Cancelo, Benjamin Mendy. You look at this sort of players. I look at Rico Luis. You realize City had. in a big trouble. Let's
You know what? You're not entirely wrong. Oh. This is his fourth season.
yeah, because I remember I was leaving.
Yeah,
I
yeah. So it's
remember
been
the year I started hearing about him. And one thing about
yeah.
City, they come up so good, then they decline, like Foden, like Rico Lewis. You see them, they are so
Oh,
good, but
Foden.
like
That's again like you see, like I think if you look at the names on paper, Foden, Mamouche, Rasheki, Tijani Rangers, the names they are stacked in attacking talent. They have the names, but I think at the same time the profiles of these players they don't like how's Foden going to get into this team? How's Oscar Bob, Mamouche, Sheki? How are you going to fit all these guys into the same team as and be compact, be solid as a unit? It's very I think there's still a lot of questions for Pep and this Man City team to answer. But I still think, obviously, I think on that day they will beat a lot of Premier League teams, but I still find that they'll have a lot of struggles like this, like the one they had against Tottenham.
yeah, let's quickly go to the next one. Chelsea, uh, West Ham. Do you think the 5-1 win against West Ham was more of Chelsea's offense, or you think it's about West Ham's awful form?
Okay. I've been seeing I saw a lot of this discussion after the game, and for as a Chelsea fan, I would say there's been in this past year there've been several times when Chelsea have come up against a an average or bad team and they found different ways to lose that game. Either they didn't take their chances.
Southampton under
Ex-
Graham Potter.
Exactly. So they found different that either not taking their chances, giving away sloppy goals, bad decision making, just say bad luck on the day. But again, I feel something you have to go out on the pitch and still make if a bad team is bad, you have to punish them. I think that's what happened. That's what Chelsea did. That's exactly what Chelsea did on Friday night. They came up against a team that is still that has a lot of issues, as not just on the pitch but also as the football club. And
Hmm.
after going a goal down, they found that rhythm, they found that confidence, they started playing that football, and they made it look easy. I think they made it look easy. But also they looked very clinical. They were very sharp in the box around the box. And one thing I've always said about Chelsea, about Chelsea teams in recent years is they've lacked that, or I felt they've always lacked that mentality of killers when. Because with Liverpool, Man City, those two teams when they were at their best, if they score one,
Yeah,
they're scoring too quickly. The second one's coming quite quickly enough, and that's what Chelsea did on Friday. Like some brilliant football, they scored a few goals from set pieces, which has been I think that's already half. We scored 6 goals from set pieces last season. Before we scored 3 this season, that's already a 50%
wow.
of our production from last year. So that's already an improvement in that department. But I just think I think the football that Enzo Fernandez, Caicedo, Steve the young Brazilian kid making his first Premier League start at age of 18. Pedro Neto, I think they all play so well. They all play, and it's one of those performances where you could easily pick out any player in that chance, well, except Sanchez, any outfield player, and that could have been the man of the match. They all played
They
so
all
well.
play well.
I think that is very, and especially when you have new attacking players coming, it's always good for me to even to start scoring and start having that impact early. And of course, you see, because the longer it goes, it becomes a burden on their back. But again, I love the football we play, the confidence, the swagger, which they just went about that football on Friday night.
Yeah. If they can continue, and another thing, I hope and I pray Pedro Neto has an outstanding season because as regards goal scoring, because I've watched him a long time ago when was at Wolves.
Yeah,
It was him, it was him, the
I
the
mean,
Spanish guy
Jimenez.
Traore,
Yeah,
Pondes. They had one they called Pondes. I think he went to Olympiacos
yeah,
at a certain time.
yeah.
And then they had Diego Jota. It was four of them. I remember one time Jota was the
Yeah.
most, in terms of the records, Jota was always getting. Neto could do all the good job, but his statistics was very awful. He already has
Exactly.
one this season, and I hope he improves. I hope he adds to
And
that.
and also think the struggle Pedro's has had in the Premier League before coming to Chelsea was always his health. He always picked up injuries across the
Yeah,
season. So
injuries.
I think since it's come over to Chelsea, it's been very it's been very I think his fitness has been good. It's I think I think he's one of those players that with he's not pleasing on the eye, if you know what I mean. He's not like an Estevao where you see the get the balls
Yeah,
amazing,
yeah,
everything's
yeah,
fantastic. But I think Neto is a man is a winger a lot of managers will love because he defends well. He's always defending with the defense well. He attacks his space well. And whenever he gets the opportunity, he's always looking to put the ball in the box. He's always trying to get the ball into the box and attack the back post as much as possible. So I'm very happy with him. Well, I
and
just
he
want to
plays
touch
both
on
both foot very very
yeah.
comfortable, extremely
Yeah,
very
okay.
very comfortable.
Yeah, which I think in these days, I think it's rare for a lot of white players to just to move from
Very, very,
to the right or left wing quite comfortable. But I just want to touch on 2 points, and I think one of them is Kopama, because Kopama was obviously meant to start the game. He pulls out, or he was taken out as a precautionary measure. But after that happened, I think I was very not I was obviously I wasn't happy, but I was very intrigued to see how this Chelsea team performed without Palmer on the day. Because one thing I don't like, one narrative that I don't like that's been going on amongst the observers is this: it's called Palmer's team and it's Palmer and the rest. I don't quite like that narrative because again, rightfully so, Palmer is our best player. There's no question about it. But at the same time, I feel in this calendar year, 2025, in the Premier League, he's nowhere close to being our best player in the Premier League. He's had some good
yeah.
performances, but I also think a lot of his performances have been below his again by his standards, below his standards.
No, no, no.
Like if we're talking about the Odegaards, that's fine. This is a good Odegaard performance. What Palmer has been putting out in this calendar year in the Premier League. But we're talking about Cole Jermaine Palmer here. This is my opinion, one of the favorites for the Ballon d'Or. They'll call me crazy, but I think he's one of the favorites for the Ballon d'Or. And I don't think his performances have been consistently good enough. But again, and I know there may be multiple reasons to it. Is it his fitness, is it fatigue, all that stuff. But at the same time, I love that we're able to go out there, play without fear, and played how we played without him. Because again, it brightens the mood when everybody like Palmer is not there. Pedro is doing his stuff. Neto is doing his stuff. Estevao again, like the way I don't think very few Chelsea players have come in at this age are just embraced like he came on the other day on first on match day one, and he got a standing ovation before he even touched the pitch. Like that's
Yeah,
how
yeah,
like
yeah.
like like when I see him, just like even if you see you see the smile on his face, he's so happy to be here. As if and again like even the goal we considered, you can put it down to his mistake where he tried to flick the ball, he lost possession. But at the same time, I like he got it wrong, we got punished. But I think a few minutes after that, he tried to do it again and got it right, and started an attack from that same move.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. Yeah. Go on,
so
go on.
so I think the player that he's still obviously he's going to take his time. He's going to grow as well. But I also want to give credit to the manager because I know it's not an easy choice to throw an 18-year-old kid that's new to the league away at West Ham. It's a derby game for Chelsea. There's a late change to the lineup, but he threw him on quickly. There was no doubt to it, and I like even the first match day. He was the first up off the bench. I like that early on the coach is already like, or probably that's how good the kids already is, where the age is not a factor. You already trust him. You only give him responsibility quickly enough, and he's already. I think he should have scored on Friday, but I think his performance. I think obviously it was one of the match, but I think his performance was very good. It's very that's a
Yeah,
very
this
good
is one of
foundation to
the
start.
this is one of the very few times where you feel that talent is important. But I think in his case, for me,
Yeah,
as regards him, personality is more important for me than the talent. There are
yeah,
some
I agree.
players.
I
Didier Drogba, the personality was way more important to me than the talent. Michael
yeah,
Ballack, the personality was way more important to me than the talent, right?
yeah.
Uh, there are some players, and I'm not changing. There are some players that have achieved their quiet, the likes of Michael Essien, the likes of Ashley Cole. But for Kopama, I feel he needs that personality. Like, I, I wish he could
I
have.
think he needs to grow again. I think he's still young. We've seen him grow. Like he's grown quite quickly. But at the same time, if he's to get because the level we're not talking about an average Premier League player that performs. We're talking about to potentially being because we've seen Kevin De Bruyne has left the Premier League now. Mo Salah is probably going to leave in the next 2 years. Like we're talking about the guy that's going to become the face of the Barclays Premier League, the guy that's going to be the main, like where you can just say, you know what? For Because for a long time, it was Salah, De Bruyne, Aguero, Hazard. Those were the guys in the Premier League, the top dogs in the Premier League. But to get to that level is consistency, and with consistency, it's mentality, is that hunger to okay, like because, because as much as I love watching him play, I've grown a bit frustrated watching him not find solutions himself. Because you know what I mean, like because like they've like if Kevin De Bruyne is playing a game and the team already has a tactical fit to stop him from doing what he's doing, that doesn't stop KDB from being KDB. He goes out of frame. Sometimes you see him, he drops to that right back spot and only does for like 10
Yeah, yeah,
minutes.
yeah.
He just starts crossing balls in, start crossing it. But you can find different ways to be impactful even when you're not having your best game. And that's what Musala does. Musala can have an average 80 minutes, on average 89 minutes. But that last minute, he will get to the goal or the assist that wins the game. That's what he's been doing for the
Against
last few
Bournemouth
years.
last the first game of the season, he had a very, very
Exactly.
poor
No, it was
game,
poor. You know,
below
like
average. But he got that goal.
but he still found a way to lead. Like I think I'm not saying that I'm not trying to judge him on stats on goals or assists, but I want to see the influence on the pitch. If you're the best player in the team, I want to see it. I don't care about what the opposition is doing to you. You need to find the solutions. You need to go there because if it's as easy as okay, they found the solution to you, they've stopped you playing. That's it. It's a bad game. Then I roll over to next week. It's not good enough for me.
Yeah,
Again,
for me,
this
what?
is
Yeah, I'm listening.
go.
For
No,
me, what he mentions, West Ham, I don't really think, yeah, they can improve their defense, but I don't think their problem is defense. I think in center of the midfield, they are so bad because they have Sushek, who I love so much because I remember watching him get the goals. He was the very Sushek. Declan Rice wouldn't have been as good as he is if he didn't play with Sushek because if you remember, he had Kevin Nolan in that. No, Sushek made him good. No, understand what I'm trying. The
no,
numbers,
no,
the
no,
combination.
no.
No, no, no. Understand where I'm going to. I'm not saying the talent wasn't there.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah, yeah.
saying for you to enable in order for them to be in the news, because the partnership between Sushek and then Declan
Okay,
Rice was to me it was the best partner you could get for the value that they signed Sushek from, because he didn't stop
okay.
Declan Rice from shining. You could see when Declan Rice was playing with Nolan, it was like a senior brother, younger brother kind of relationship. When
Yeah,
Nolan
Mark Noble.
retired,
Yeah,
yeah, Mark Nolan.
yeah,
When Nolan retired, it became like Declan Rice position or whatever.
yeah,
But with Sushek, he was more offensive. He could give it. The two relationship was telepathic. That's where
yeah, yeah. Okay,
that's where I
yeah,
was going
yeah,
to.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, there was,
So,
yeah, there
but
was.
having watched him, he wasn't the fastest. But now I think even to run is difficult for him. You look at the other guy, Ward Prowse. He also has some problems.
No.
He's
Prowse
never
is
been.
is no. Like, I think there was a time where he was a good Premier League player, but also had that extra advantage of being one of the best set piece takers in Europe,
Yeah,
where his
yeah,
set
yeah.
pieces, his corners, free kicks were on point. But I think right now he's just not like respectfully, he looks like a championship midfielder.
Yes,
And
championship, championship.
that's been kind. And if West Ham are not careful, if they don't address their issues in the transfer window, that's exactly what it's going to be next year. A championship team with what Prowse in there. So it's,
I,
well,
I don't know why they didn't move
before,
for Gochuku or Dewsbury
no,
Hall or some young players who
no,
can fill
like
those voids.
it's, well, it's because I think sometimes in Premier League, I think people really underestimate the importance of having players that can run back and forth on the pitch. I'm not saying running is important, but you also need to obviously pass the ball. But if you can't win the physical battle in the midfield, I think you most chances that you lose that game. Like we've seen that across, we've seen it this weekend. We will see it for years to come. If you can't dominate that midfield physically before you start controlling the ball technically with the passing and the possession, but if you can't physically dominate a midfield, chances are you don't get points in this Premier League. I think that's where it starts. You have to see if you see teams that are playing well in the midfield. Sorry, if you see teams playing well in the Premier League, you look at that midfield. You see the Caicedos, Declan Rice. You see even what's it called, Tottenham with Papa Sarr, Paulina, and
Yeah,
Bentancur. another team that I watched this week, Brentford. It wasn't an amazing game, but they played well. They played in intensity. Henderson was in that midfield. The young Ukrainian midfielder Yarmolenko was there as well.
Come on, look, yeah, yeah, yeah.
They play with intensity. They run, they shuffle across the pitch back and forth. So you need that physicality. And again, I also think with West Ham, there's also a mentality issue. And I think that stems from one person. I know there's a lot of issues behind the scenes with the club, the ownership, and the directors and all that. But I think there's a mentality issue with Graham Potter. I don't think Graham Potter has. He doesn't have what it. Okay, I don't think he at this level. I don't think he can sustainably be a top Premier League manager anymore. I don't think he has it. It does because even if you see the way he comes across is very soft spoken. Which again, that's who he is. There's nothing wrong with it. But
Yeah,
I also feel most times it team reflects the manager. And that's the best way to say it. Like you can see if you see what the team is doing on the pitch, you look at how the manager carries himself, how he's always carried himself at Chelsea. Like 'cause at Chelsea, when he was at Chelsea, we had this issue where we start games, we play well, keep the ball, pass it. Then we concede, we can't react. It's dead. Like every
mm,
time we conceded first, that was it. We're done. There was no reaction in that team whenever we were down a goal. Whenever we needed a goal, there was no reaction. And it was quite clear. It was quite clear within months that this guy wasn't going to last at that top level. But he's obviously he left Chelsea. He's taking his time. He's now found himself at West Ham. But I think even West Ham as a club, and this funny situation where a lot of fans they tried they were not happy with David Moyes. They were not happy with the style of football David Moyes. So David
mm.
Moyes obviously leaves. They bring in the Spanish was it Spanish? Yeah, Spanish manager.
Yeah,
Lopetegui. It's it wasn't
Lopetegui.
yeah, it wasn't good. They bring in Potter. It's still not. They don't look like a strong Premier League team. It's getting to the point where they it's. I think alarm bell should be ringing across
They're
that
going
club
down.
right now. You know what you know what I think that probably the biggest savior might be Jared Bowen because if you look at the teams in that situation, I think he's probably the best attacker in that bottom eight clubs like the
Who?
Wolves. What Jared Bowen.
And then Paqueta, I don't think they're selling him this season.
Yeah, but even Paqueta, yeah, he scored an amazing goal. But then after he scored the goal, then for the next 70 minutes, he disappears.
Yeah, but that goal is going to be effective because if he gives you 5 goals and he scores goals and you win games, there are some
Yeah,
games
yeah,
that are going to be decided by 1 goal or decided by brilliance.
yeah, true.
If
Yeah,
he
true,
nets you,
true.
if he
Yeah,
nets you 12 points with 4 goals or whatever,
yeah,
is good.
yeah,
I get, but they have a young boy. I don't think he did really bad, Pauline or something when he came in. I don't
yeah.
think
It was good.
you.
And you know they signed they recently signed that goalkeeper from Leicester City.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
And the
Emerson.
goalkeeper impressed me against Arsenal last season. He had a very good game.
Yeah, it was amazing. And I was watching the game, I thought of something like because there's reminded me of another goalkeeper that got relegated, then he got signed to another Premier League club, and that club got
Leeds
relegated
United.
again.
Oh no,
No,
okay. Go. Who?
Ramsdale, Ramsdale.
I'm saying, oh,
Yeah, from Bournemouth to Sheffield United, then Arsenal. So first note of if you want to survive in the Premier League, don't sign a keeper that just got relegated. And and with him, I think they should start considering sending him back to Leicester on loan with an obligation to sell. Like he's like like because with the
His
work,
Danish, right?
yeah, he's finished. And with Walker coming on and with Casper Schmeichel's age, obviously what it is, been a lot of talk about him being the next number one goalkeeper for the Danish national team. But at this rate, it's not
He
good.
had a very
Yeah,
bad
it's not
game
good.
for like 4 corner kicks.
Yeah,
Shout out to Estevao. Two
yeah,
final third passes,
yeah,
which is the
yeah.
most. Two successful dribbles, which was the most in the game. An assist and man of the match on his first Premier League debut, first Premier League starts here at the age of 18. I think he became Chelsea's youngest player
Assist
to have
provider,
assist provider.
assist
Yeah,
in the Premier League.
and if you watch, just like Estevao, Paye, when you have these magician kind of players, technician kind of players, Paye lost possession for the second goal for Chelsea. Estevao lost possession for the first goal for West Ham. So these players sometimes when they do all those things, you have to appreciate that they are taking a lot of risks. Sometimes it doesn't
Yeah,
work, they lose the ball, the team get punished.
yeah,
West Ham
yeah.
goalkeeper considered four corner kicks. He considered four corner kicks he considered 4 goals from corner kicks in 2 games. Chelsea was three. The
Yeah,
last game against
s-
Sunderland was one. That's
yeah,
bad.
so
In two
but
games, 4 goals from
yeah,
corner
but
kicks.
I know because even at that the game against Sunderland the opening day they considered two-headed goals, which again just I think as if you look at how they defend, they give you time on the ball. They're very slow to come out and press. If they don't, if again, I think there's still a lot of work that the coach could be doing. And but you see, well, honestly, I think it's still early doors. If they get a couple good week, and if they get a good result next week, they could just start. It could help. But I think the atmosphere at that club right now is not because it doesn't help when you see fans in your first home game of the season, fans leaving the stadium in the
Yeah,
60th minute. It's not good for morale. But just the last point before we go. I want to shout out one of, if not the most underrated player in this Barclays Premier League. That is Trevor Chalobah. I think for even because again, if you think about his story at Chelsea in the last year alone, they've gone from being in the bomb squad. Like
mm-hmm.
they've tried to find him a different. They've basically tried to sell him for pure profit because obviously an academic kid. So he goes on loan to Crystal Palace, a dry loan. I think in 6 months he was amazing there. He scored a couple goals. Was the starter of that good team. Then Chelsea obviously had the injuries in January. He comes back, and the way he's matured in this short time, this past 6 months, is I think he's really matured as one of the better centre backs in Premier League. Because if you look at him and what he can do as a centre back, like was it the challenge he made for the second goal? Yeah, like you see like how many centre backs do you see pressing high up the pitch in the opposition half, winning the ball and finding the right pass and just like his passing, his clearances is very. I think these days he looks very assured. He looks more
Yeah, yeah,
assured
yeah,
than he's
yeah,
been in
yeah.
a long time. So I really want to give him a shout out.
Okay, that should be all for us today. Join us next week for another episode.
Yeah.
Frank, thanks a lot. Do have a good one.
And if you like, share, subscribe, and leave your comments in
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah, yeah.
down below, and we'll get to it. But again, thanks, Chika.
Thank you
Catch
very
you
much.
next time. Bye.